Hello fans, I'm Randy Pettitt, racing's greatest showman and the host of Rattling the Rollcage and the voice of historic Bowman Gray Stadium racing in my hometown of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Well, as I record this on the first day of June in 2021, we should be well into our 73rd season of action at NASCAR's oldest weekly racing facility. But thanks to a pandemic, there was no racing at Bowman Gray in 2020, and the start of the 72nd season was delayed until this Saturday night, June the 5th, right here in 2021. Now, I was getting my notebook ready, and I noticed it's going to be 657 days, or 15,768 hours, or 946,080 minutes since we last had our fix of Bowman Gray Racing. So let me reset the scene for you, and we're going to go back to the 2019 season to get you caught up before we kick off 2021. Now, if you remember, Burt Myers won 5 races and took home the 2019 Modified Championship at the Madhouse, his 4th in a row. So one of the storylines this season will be 2 things. Will Myers be able to break the 10-10 tie with Tim Brown for all-time championships? And can Burt Myers tie the late great Pee Wee Jones's record of 5 straight modified championships at the stadium? We'll find out. Oh yeah, there was a big surprise winner in the 2019 edition of the Hayes Jewelers 200. If you can remember all the way back to April of 2019, Brian Lofton was a last-minute substitute for Jeremy Gerstner in the Shady Grady Racing number 15 Modified, and Lofton prevailed in the 200 after a terrific battle with James Savali in the last few laps. It was Brian Lofton's first victory in the Hayes Jewelers 200 and the 5th of his career at the Madhouse. And if you can remember to the last race of the 2019 season, the Carolina Farm Credit 150 season finale was won for the 3rd time in the past 4 years by Winston-Salem's Brandon Ward. It was Ward's 3 2019 victories that brought his career total to 6 on the famed quarter mile. Well, that brings us to Tim Brown and Jonathan Brown. No relation, and about as different as Cristal and Moonshine. I'll drink to that. Both of those guys won twice at the Madhouse in 2019, and you got to imagine neither one were happy about it. Veterans Randy Butner, James Savali, Chris Fleming, Lee Jeffries, Lofton, who we mentioned, and a youngster, Carson Ware, each bagged 1 victory during the 2019 season at the Madhouse, filled with parity. Now, speaking of filled, young Carson Ware won in just his 2nd start at the stadium, and he nearly filled my shoes with this dinner when he upchucked at the start-finish line after exiting the car. That one I won't forget. And speaking of somebody that wanted to throw up, it was probably Lee Jeffries. It had to be a frustrating season for him. He was the pole king, leading qualifying trials 6 times, and he swiped the Grand Lap Award away from Burt Myers in the last event of the season. But with some full-field redraws in the 100-lap races and just some plain old rotten luck, Jeffries won just once in 2019, but it was a big one. He scored the 22nd victory of his stadium career, and that tied him with Billy Myers and Johnny Bryant, 2 really good ones, for 20th on the all-time main event winners list. And that takes us to the Sportsman division, where Justin Taylor seemingly came out of nowhere and put together a championship season in Sportsman. Taylor won 3 races, and he finished outside the top 5 at the Madhouse just twice all season. Think about that. That is a remarkable year. Dylan Ward was the Sportsman top gun with 6 victories, and Tommy Neal was a championship threat all season with 4 wins, and that increased his victory total in Sportsman at Bowman Gray to 48, 3rd all-time, trailing only Ronnie Clifton and, of course, the legendary Jimmy Johnson. Amber Lynn, now Boger, she got married, remember? She set the record for a female driver in Sportsman with 3 victories. And other 2019 winners were Boo Boo Dalton, who, by the way, looks more like a Yogi Bear than a boo-boo. Kyle Southern joined Dalton as a first-time winner in division. 2018 champion Kevin Neal scratched out 1 win, and the same for 2-time champion Derek Stoltz. Speaking of Stoltz, I saw on Facebook where he raffled off his car, his race car. Yep. So that means Stoltz has evolved from prime time to part-time to no time. He's probably laid up at the beach right now. Surprises in Sportsman? Well, how about John Hallman IV and Michael Adams, both winless in Sportsman action in 2019. Hallman moved up to Modified late in the year, if you remember, and did pretty good. Adams, well, he remains stuck on 19 wins in Sportsman heading into Saturday night's 40-lapper, and that ought to be a good one. Now we'll move on to the street stock division, where I think it's fair to say that Billy Gregg wrestled the title away from both Jacob Creed and Jeremy Warren in the last race. Now Gregg, who ironically had America's Most Like Wrestling as the sponsor on his car, body slammed the car of Austin Harris in the last lap, and he got just enough points for his second street stock championship at the Madhouse. Jacob Creed, a three-time 2019 winner and the division's top gun, well, his title hopes evaporated with a flat tire. Creed's father David won the season finale, and that was his second 2019 victory. Warren was among a group of 6 drivers with just 1 victory in the division, and they include first-time winners Corey Rose, Kristen Joyce, Nate Gregg, and Gerald Robinson Jr., along with Warren's teammate, the veteran Brian Sykes. Well, and that takes us to the always tough stadium stock division, where Chuck Wall set a division record with his 4th championship. Speaking of 4, Wall won 4 races, and he edged his rival and longtime friend A.J. Sanders in the final standings. Wall moved to 5th on the all-time stadium stock victory list with 22 triumphs at the famed quarter mile. Sanders won just once there, and still leads the division with 48 overall wins. Brandon Brindle won the season finale in stadium stock and swiped the Top Gun award away from Wall with his own 4th 2019 victory. And that moved Brandon Brindle into the top 10 on the stadium stock division's winners list, sitting 9th all time with 15 triumphs. Young Grayson Keaton had an excellent season too in stadium stock, getting 3 victories. And Chris Allison was the only other repeat winner in the division, grabbing the 13th and 14th victories of his Bowman Gray Stadium career, good for 10th all time. Well, that wraps up our 2019 season recap of Bowman Gray Racing, and I hope that gets you ready for some more Madhouse action as we get them fired up this Saturday night, June the 5th, for the Hayes Jewelers 200. Be a 40-lap Sportsman race, 20 laps of street stock racing, and of course, those 4-cylinder stadium stock division drivers will be in action as well. Now, the big question, the one everybody's been asking, is what are you going to wear, Randy? I bet you didn't recognize me with regular clothes, a t-shirt and a ball cap. Yep, I don't always wear that crazy stuff, but I'll have it on Saturday night, and the only way to find out is to be there. I'm racing's greatest showman, Randy Pettitt, and the voice of historic Bowman Gray Stadium Racing, and your host of Rattling and Rollcage. I'll see you at the track, and may all your days be race days.